Honda are one of the most technically interesting companies, and they now have 4 hybrids on sale in the UK. The CRZ is one of my favourite cars of 2010, and there's a new hybrid, the cheapest hybrid you can buy in the UK for less than 16 grand, the Jazz Hybrid. Now the CRZ is based on the Honda Insight, and I have to tell you that's one of our least favourite cars of the last couple of years. So the fact they've managed to turn this around and make it into a great 2+2 sports coupe is no mean achievement. Come and find out why. Why do I like the CRZ so much? Well, it's all about this. It's compact and it's just very agile, and it's got Honda's IMA. And that basically means the electric motor is sandwiched between the engine and the gearbox. And the gearbox now, this is one of the real highlights of this car, it's a proper manual. It's the only manual transmission hybrid I've ever tried. And it gets away from all that CVT thrashiness that you have. You put your foot down, the revs going, and you don't have that here. You're in control. And it makes an enormous difference. It imbues the whole character of the car. It gives it a bit of a sporting edge, which I really like. It's not quite as slick as, say, Civic Type R's snickety rifle bolt gear change, but it's a pretty nice, accurate affair, and it really makes such a difference to the car.
The CRZ is Honda's sporty hybrid, but this is the Jazz hybrid, and it's the sensible one. It's the cheapest hybrid on sale in the UK at the moment, and unlike the CRZ, which you buy with your heart, this is the car you buy with your head. It's more about the numbers and the figures rather than the interactive driving experience. So rather than a manual gearbox, it's got a CVT, and rather than a 1.5 litre engine, it's got a 1.3. Figures wise, well, it's much cleaner than the CRZ. 117 grams per kilometre and 57 miles per gallon for the CRZ versus 104 grams and 63 miles per gallon for this. The point of the IMA system as well is you have a small economical petrol engine, still allowing you to have the joys of sort of free revving engines, not having to do with the diesel. But when you put your foot down, the batteries and the motor assist the engine, giving you a bit of extra power. And then when you're braking or it's on the overrun, it recharges the batteries, helping give you better figures.
Now the CRZ is one of the highlights of 2010. Probably not the best car I've driven all year, but it was the difference between what I was expecting and what it delivered. It was a real surprise for me, and I like that. The steering's quite quite darty and agile. Unfortunately, on weather like this, we're not really going to be throwing the car around, but you've got to take my word for it. It's a nice sort of chassis. But it's very nice. There's a real sort of pod feel around the driver. It was pioneered back on the original Insight back 10 years ago, really. It's very good. Some of the plastics, a bit tinny. Feel that, that's awful. Really cheap plastics. But it's a nice feel in here. The ergonomics are great, and it feels quite focused. It's a good interior, and being a Honda, you just don't think it's going to go wrong either. I like that about this car. But it just goes to show you don't need to have mega power outputs and F off enormous speeds to have a fun car in this day and age. This is a car really in keeping with the zeitgeist.
To help you drive more economically, the Jazz Hybrid's got 3 little tricks just to help you along. First of all, the big speedo in the middle. If you're good, if you have gentle throttle inputs and gently brake, it glows green. If you're bad and floor it, it goes blue. Down there as well, there's 5 little tree saplings. Again, if you're gentle with the throttle, they grow. The rainforest a little down there, you can watch it prosper. Again, if you floor it, it'll just devastate the entire thing. Finally, there's a little bar that moves left and right. If you brake and accelerate really hard, it goes right out to the extreme, telling you you're being bad. Be good, be gentle, it stays in the middle. Again, your MPG figures go up. Hybrid penalties? Well, they're few and far between. Versus the petrol engine Jazzers, there's no diesel available. The hybrid is about 15 to 20 grams per kilometre cleaner and about 10 miles per gallon the more economical as well. The downsides, there's an extra 70 kilograms of battery in the boot, so you lose the trick double floor boot from the regular Jazz, but you still get the really practical, really easy to use Magic seats. In terms of practicality, it is the biggest, most spacious Super Mini you can buy.
So there you are. These are 2 of the most technically interesting small cars on the market. They're expensive, mind you, £16,000. You'd consider a Renault Sport Clio instead of one of these, I reckon. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, and if you want a really economical Super Mini, you'd have a small diesel like a Fiesta Econetic or a Polo Blue Motion. But hybrid cars, especially these 2, make sure the petrol engines are still relevant today.
Now, until BMW's Project I car comes along, carbon fibre, 20, 30 grand, these are where it's at, I think. The most technically interesting small cars around. Well done, Honda.